Sir, I need you to step down from the bus right now.
Officer, I'm fine. Look, it was just a mailbox.
You've been drinking this morning, sir?
No, I got a medical condition.
I can smell it.
The body cam footage showed a man standing in the doorway of a school bus, yellow polo shirt, a school lanyard still hanging around his neck. He was barely able to hold himself upright. His blood alcohol level, 0.14, nearly twice the legal limit, and it was 7:42 in the morning. That footage would be reviewed by the Georgia Department of Education, the National Transportation Safety Board, and news stations across the country. It would be replayed in courtrooms. It would be shown in legislative hearings. It would become the face of a conversation America had been avoiding. But the footage from that Thursday morning was only the beginning. Because when investigators started pulling records, GPS data, security camera footage, text messages, bank statements, they didn't find a single incident. They found a pattern. 11 months of it. What started as a single drunk driver on a school bus became a statewide scandal that exposed the fragility of a system millions of parents trust every single morning. This wasn't the first time. Marcus Dwayne Holloway had been driving bus 147 for 22 years. 3 generations of families had trusted him with their children. Parents who had ridden his bus as kids now watched their own children climb those same steps. They called him Mr. Marcus. He never missed a route, never had an accident, never received a single complaint in over 2 decades. What no one knew was that for 11 months Marcus Holloway had been driving that bus under the influence of alcohol. The crash into a mailbox on that Thursday morning would expose everything. It would end his career, destroy his reputation, and send him to prison. Before we get into it, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Let's go. Marcus Dwayne Holloway was born in 1972 in Albany, Georgia, working-class family. His father drove long-haul trucks, gone for weeks at a time, home for a few days, then gone again. His mother worked in a school cafeteria for $4.15 an hour. Marcus grew up in a small house on Cordial Road, watching yellow school buses pass his mother's kitchen window every single morning. There was something about the rhythm of it, the reliability, the way the entire neighborhood seemed to set their clocks by the moment that bus rounded the corner. It meant the day had started. It meant the world was still working. He graduated from Albany High School in 1990. His grades were average. His options were limited. 3 weeks after graduation, he walked into an Army recruiting office and signed his name. Transportation Corps. The military taught him to drive supply trucks through terrain that would make most civilian drivers quit. He served during Desert Storm, 18 months in theater. He came home in 1994 with an honorable discharge and a skill set that didn't have many civilian applications. Back in Albany, Marcus bounced between jobs, warehouse work, delivery routes for a furniture company, night shifts at a plastics factory that paid well but slowly ground him down. He was drifting, searching for something that felt like purpose. Then he met Denise Williams, a pediatric nurse at Phoebe Putney Memorial Hospital. They met at a church cookout in 1995, Marcus flipping burgers, Denise organizing the dessert table. He asked for her number before she left. She made him wait 3 days before she called back. They married in October 1996, small ceremony at Mount Zion Baptist Church. His mother cried. His father made it home from a haul just in time. For the next 6 years, Marcus worked whatever jobs he could find. Nothing stuck. Nothing felt right. Then in March 2002, he saw a posting at the unemployment office. School bus drivers needed, CDL training provided. $14.50 an hour. He applied the same day. The training evaluator's note said, natural behind the wheel, patient, excellent situational awareness. He was assigned Route 147, Cedar Ridge Elementary, April 15, 2002. He would drive that same route for 22 years. In 2007, his first safety award, 0 incidents in 5 years. In 2012, he was promoted to senior driver. In 2015, he was featured in the district newsletter as the heart of Route 147. Parents loved him. He sang happy birthday to every child by name. He kept granola bars under his seat for kids who missed breakfast. He knew every parent's name, remembered which kids had allergies, which ones needed extra time getting up the steps. Mr. Marcus. That's what 3 generations of Cedar Ridge families called him. To them, he wasn't just a bus driver. He was a constant, a fixture in the fabric of their mornings. A man they trusted completely. Then in February 2023, Denise went to the doctor for a persistent cough. Stage 3 breast cancer. The diagnosis hit Marcus like a freight train. 31 years of marriage. The woman who had been his anchor through every storm, now fighting for her life. The medical bills arrived immediately, $47,000 out of pocket in the first 6 months alone. Marcus took out a second mortgage on their home. He picked up weekend work driving charter buses 14-hour Saturdays, 12-hour Sundays, then climbed back behind the wheel of bus 147 Monday morning at 5:15 a.m. He wasn't sleeping. He'd lie awake in the dark listening to Denise breathe, terrified that each breath might be her last. The weight of it was crushing him. The financial pressure, the emotional isolation, the helplessness of watching someone you love suffer and being unable to stop it. The drinking started quietly, a shot of vodka before bed, just to take the edge off. That's what he told himself. Every morning in America, 480,000 yellow school buses carry 26 million children to school. That's more passengers than all other forms of public transit combined. The school bus is, statistically, the safest way for a child to travel, but that safety doesn't come from the vehicle. It comes from the person sitting behind the wheel. In Jefferson County, Georgia, the district operates 127 buses and employs 89 drivers. Routes begin at 6:15 a.m. The last buses return around 4:45 p.m. During those hours, drivers are alone with their passengers, no monitor on board, no supervisor watching, no real-time oversight. To drive a school bus in Georgia, you need a commercial driver's license with P&S endorsements. Drug and alcohol screening is required at hiring. After that, the oversight becomes sporadic. Federal regulations require random testing, but only for 10% of drivers per year. Post-accident testing is mandatory. Reasonable suspicion testing is available if a supervisor notices something concerning, but there's a fundamental gap in the system, a significant one. There is no requirement for testing before a morning route. No breathalyzer at the bus yard. No supervisor checking drivers as they clock in. No medical screening. Nothing standing between an impaired driver and a bus full of children except the honor system. In Jefferson County, the transportation yard opened at 5:30 a.m. Drivers with early routes arrived even earlier. They clocked in using a keypad, conducted their own vehicle inspections, signed their own names, self-reported, self-certified, self-regulated. As long as the bus showed up on time, no one asked any questions. That gap, that silent, structural gap, is what Marcus Holloway walked through for 11 months. November 14, 2023. That was the date of Marcus Holloway's first drink before a morning route. Denise had started chemotherapy 3 weeks earlier. The side effects were brutal: nausea, vomiting, hair falling out in clumps. Marcus would hold her hair back while she retched at 3 a.m., then try to grab 2 hours of sleep before his alarm went off. That Tuesday morning, he couldn't stop his hands from shaking. He stood in the kitchen at 5 a.m., staring at the vodka bottle. He told himself it was just this once, just to steady his nerves, just to get through the day. 2 shots, then mouthwash, then coffee. He drove Route 147 without incident, picked up all 19 kids, delivered them safely to school, came home to find Denise asleep on the couch, a bucket beside her. He sat next to her and held her hand. He told himself it was a one-time thing. By December, he was drinking every morning. The vodka went into a plastic water bottle in his lunchbox. Clear liquid, no smell if the cap stayed on. He developed a system: 2 shots at home, mouthwash, eye drops for the redness, coffee for the breath. He believed he was functional. He told himself the alcohol actually helped, steadied his hands, calmed his nerves, made him sharper. I drove better with a little something in me. That's what he would later tell investigators. The dosage climbed gradually. 2 shots in November, 3 in January, 4 by April. By July 2024, he was drinking during his midday break between routes. By October 2024, he was drinking before, during, and after every single shift, and no one stopped him. Or rather, people noticed things. They just didn't connect the dots. In February 2024, a parent called in to complain that bus 147 had arrived late 3 days in a row. Dispatchers chalked it up to traffic. In May, another driver mentioned to a supervisor that Marcus seemed off lately, tired, distracted, not himself. The supervisor assumed it was the stress from his wife's illness. They let it go. In August, a substitute driver found 3 empty airplane-sized vodka bottles wedged under the seat. He threw them away, didn't report it, didn't want to get anyone in trouble. Nobody wanted to believe it about Mr. Marcus. He had 22 years of goodwill built up in that community. He was the granola bar guy, the birthday song guy. He was the driver parents felt lucky to have. That trust, earned honestly over 2 decades, became the shield that let everything continue. October 17, 2024, Thursday. Marcus had been awake since 2:15 a.m. When Denise started vomiting from the chemo, he cleaned her up, changed the sheets, and sat in the dark kitchen waiting for the sun. At 5 a.m., he poured 4 shots of Smirnoff. More than usual, his hands were shaking badly. The vodka helped. At 5:15, he arrived at the yard. No supervisor on duty. They didn't start until 5:30. He clocked in, conducted his own inspection. Everything marked satisfactory. At 6:15 a.m., first pickup, Magnolia Street. The Henderson twins, Maya and Marcus Jr., 6 years old. They climbed the steps chattering about a birthday party. Over the next hour, he completed 7 more stops. 19 children total, ages 5 to 11. Marcus was sweating despite the October chill. He kept the radio off. The noise bothered him. At 7:31 a.m., a teacher named Kesha Woodard pulled onto Ridgewood Lane, running late, stuck behind bus 147. She was annoyed at the slow pace. Then she watched the bus drift across the center line. It overcorrected sharply, nearly clipped a parked car, then drifted left again. Kesha dialed 911. I think the school bus driver might be having a medical emergency. He's swerving all over the road. There are kids on that bus. 7 minutes later, bus 147 turned into the Cedar Ridge Elementary parking lot. Marcus cut the wheel too wide. The front right corner struck a black mailbox, snapping the wooden post clean. The children screamed. Marcus sat frozen, hands still on the wheel. Principal Vanessa Okafor saw the impact from the sidewalk. She called 911 immediately. 4 minutes later, 2 deputies arrived. Deputy Ryan Mercer approached the front door. Deputy Thomas Vega began evacuating children from the rear exit. Deputy Mercer was 6 feet from the door when the smell hit him. The field sobriety test took less than 3 minutes. Marcus failed all 3 components: walk and turn, one-leg stand, horizontal gaze nystagmus. The breathalyzer registered 0.14. A search of his lunchbox produced a water bottle. Field tested positive for alcohol. Marcus was handcuffed at 7:47 a.m. while 19 children watched from the sidewalk. That afternoon, investigators searched his home. In the garage, 14 empty vodka bottles. Bank records showed purchases at the nearby Chevron 3 to 4 times per week since November 2023, always between 4:45 and 5:10 in the morning. In his nightstand, a composition notebook, Denise's chemotherapy schedule on the first pages. On the later pages, his own records, doses and times, 2 shots, 3 shots, 4. A private log of his own destruction, kept in the same notebook where he tracked his wife's survival. Investigators pulled his text messages, a conversation with his brother from September. "How you holding up, man? Taking it one day at a time. Got my medicine. The doctor give you something?" "Nah. Self-prescribed. Don't. I got it under control." But the most damaging evidence came from an unexpected source. A parent named Dwayne Caldwell had dashcam footage from October 3rd, 2 weeks before the crash. It showed bus 147 swerving across the center line directly into the path of an oncoming pickup truck. The truck veered onto the shoulder. The bus corrected at the last second, missing by less than 3 feet. Marcus never reported it. 14 seconds of footage. It became the centerpiece of the prosecution's case. 14 seconds that showed this hadn't been a crisis. It had been a routine. Deputy Mercer's body camera captured the arrest in full. Marcus stood in the doorway, gripping the handrail with both hands. Yellow polo dark with sweat. Eyes bloodshot and slow to track. "Sir, I need you to step down from the bus right now." Marcus swayed. "Officer, I'm fine. It was just a mailbox. I swerved for a dog." "Have you been drinking this morning?" "What? Nah." His voice rose. "I got a medical condition. I take pills for my back." Deputy Mercer stepped closer. The smell was unmistakable. "I can smell it on you. Step down. Hands where I can see them." Marcus's face crumpled. The fight drained out of him. "Man, please. I got 22 years driving for this district. Please don't do this in front of the kids." Behind him, 19 faces pressed against the windows. 7-year-old Maya Henderson, tears streaming down her face. She had pressed her palm flat against the glass. Marcus saw her. He had driven her mother to this same school 15 years earlier. Same route, same seat, same window. His legs buckled. He caught himself on the handrail, stumbled down the steps. "Oh God, what have I done?" Those were the last words he spoke before the handcuffs clicked shut. On October 24, 2024, the district attorney filed formal charges: 19 counts of DUI child endangerment, 1 count of reckless driving, 1 count of felony DUI. Marcus rejected a 5-year plea deal. He wanted to testify. He wanted to explain. His public defender built the defense around 2 arguments: Denise's illness as a mitigating factor, and Marcus's alcoholism as a disease, not a character flaw. The prosecution had the dashcam footage. The trial began February 10, 2025, 6 days, 14 witnesses. When the dashcam footage was played for the jury, 3 people in the gallery gasped. 1 mother walked out in tears. Marcus spent 90 minutes on the stand. He admitted everything. He apologized. He wept. It wasn't enough. Tanya Henderson, Maya's mother, addressed the court. "My children won't get on a school bus anymore. Maya has nightmares every week. She asks me every morning, what if the driver is sick? She is 7 years old. She shouldn't have to ask that question." The jury deliberated for 3 hours and 17 minutes. Guilty. All counts. Judge Patricia Harmon addressed Marcus before sentencing. 22 years without incident. Letters attesting to your character. I have weighed all of that. She paused. You drove a 14-ton vehicle carrying 19 children while nearly twice the legal limit, repeatedly, over 11 months. You placed your need to cope above the lives of children who called you Mr. Marcus. Another pause. The tragedy of your wife's illness explains your pain. It does not justify your choices. Nothing justifies those choices. The sentence: 8 years in Georgia State Prison, lifetime CDL revocation, $127,000 in restitution. Marcus Holloway is currently incarcerated at Hayes State Prison in Tryon, Georgia. Medium security, eligible for parole in 2029. Denise visits once a month. Her cancer went into remission in June 2025. 14 families sued Jefferson County Schools. The district settled for $340,000, an implicit acknowledgement that their oversight had failed, that the system had created conditions where this was possible, where a man could climb into a bus drunk for nearly a year and no one ever stopped him. In the months following the verdict, Georgia introduced legislation to mandate pre-route sobriety checks at transportation yards statewide. The bill cited Jefferson County directly. As of this recording, it has not yet passed. 19 children were on that bus the morning of October 17th. None of them were physically injured. But Maya Henderson still won't ride a school bus, and she still asks her mother every single morning, what if the driver is sick? She's 7 years old. She shouldn't have to ask that.